Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And so I'm going to be talking with you about what we do at the center, and specifically about stress reduction for professionals, because who here doesn't have stress in their lives? Even though we think we manage our stress, which some people feel that they do, but we're constantly being assaulted, whether it's through pollutants in our air, in our water, in our food, or in our relationships, the environment in general. And managing stress really should be something that should take a top priority, because as I'm sure you've all heard, stress is the cause of a lot of chronic illnesses. So the little handout that I just made up for you is just to give you a little bit of information on the stress response, what actually happens in the stress response. Thank you. What happens in the stress response. I just want to give you a little bit of background as to how I got to where I am and starting the center and everything. I'm a registered nurse. I went to Villanova, which is how I got to the main line. And then I did psychiatric nursing for 2 years, and then I got derailed into the pharmaceutical research arena. So I did pharmaceutical research, nothing to do with the ads on TV. I'm vehemently against them. But I did research, and I worked for 2 pharma companies before they were all taken over. Now I think there's going to be 2 major ones, as they keep progressing. But I worked for 2, and then I started my own company doing research where I actually monitored drug studies from the pharmaceutical side, and I put patients in drug studies on the site side. So when patients, were, the possibilities were exhausted in terms of what Western medicine had to offer them, sometimes a drug study was something that they could enter into, where it was, for altruistic reasons, or they were looking for other options for their health, whether it's, and I did every therapeutic area, so I did heart disease, with the knee replacement, spinal cord injury, GI, GU, you name it, I did it. And so I know both sides of the coin of pharmaceutical research and a lot about Western medicine, so I'm very grounded in science. And so simultaneously, while I was starting my research company, I started studying metaphysics and divinity and alternative medicine. So I had like this weird double life going on, because people were like, well, how can you be a metaphysician and do drug research for a living? And at first I said, well, I don't know, because my life was very compartmentalized. And so I had my career over here and what I was passionate about over here. Well, the metaphysics studies and alternative medicine studies really became a love for me. And in the pharma industry, I got to see the mind-body connection up close and personal because of the placebo effect. So most of the time, drug studies have to be done in a double-blind fashion, placebo-controlled, with approval. And so what was really fascinating to me is that many times patients got better in drug studies, and we either knew they were on placebo, or the study was stopped due to lack of efficacy, and the patients still felt better. So that all kind of figured into, and the placebo effect, by the way, is about 40%. So that just shows you why even the FDA recognizes that there's a mind-body connection, and why people just taking the act of taking a pill, the belief in it, the belief in the doctor, the practitioner, has an effect on your health. So alternative medicine, contrary to what Western medicine does, which is a treat the symptom, not the cause philosophy, alternative medicine and metaphysics has to do with going after the first cause. So in other words, symptomatic relief will get you some symptomatic relief, but it doesn't attack the problem of why one becomes sick to begin with, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. So I had this weird thing going on where I was on both ends of the spectrum of healing, and then eventually learned that they are part of the spectrum, all part of the spectrum of healing. So that drugs and surgery, I have a huge respect for Western medicine. As we know, it's cured many people, helped many people. However, I can tell you firsthand that the side effects of many of the drugs that are approved are absolutely brutal. And many times, especially our elderly, are what they call polypharmacy, where a drug is prescribed for one thing, but the side effects that it causes are requiring another drug to treat that, and then another drug to treat that, and then another drug to treat that. And so many times our seniors are on many, many drugs, and it's really not great for us. So with metaphysics, divinity, I became an interfaith minister, and then I started studying something called Ayurveda. And Ayurvedic medicine is something that I fell in love with because it's a nature-based philosophy from India. And I'll tell you a little bit about Ayurveda. Like Chinese medicine, it's over 5,000 years old. It's nature-based. It's based on the fact that you have an individual constitution that you come in with, and it teaches you to make lifestyle choices in harmony with that constitution rather than against it. So literally, one person's poison is another person's nectar, and so on. So it's very much individualized therapy, and it doesn't put anybody in a box. It's about honoring a person's mind, body, heart, spirit, and taking care of them accordingly. Unlike Western medicine's model of just treat the symptom and not the cause, or this is how you treat arthritis in everybody, or this is how you treat heart disease in everybody. So that's kind of the perspective that I'm going to be talking with you. So on your handouts, I just talk a little bit about the stress response. We're, especially here in the Northeast, I think we're crazy in terms of our lifestyle, in terms of the perpetual fight-flight response. We're at the mercy of our iPhones and our iPads and our computers, and when that little chime goes off, we have to right away respond. And that sets up a fight-flight response in the body, whereby our heart rate is increased, our blood pressure is increased, our breathing is erratic, or it stops, or when we're in fear, we sometimes stop breathing, we don't breathe deep enough. Our platelets actually get stickier in preparation for injury. That's how intelligent the body actually is. And stickier platelets can lead to heart disease and stroke, or heart attack and stroke rather. Our blood flow goes to the extremities. It's about really our reptilian brain not having caught up with where we are evolutionarily, and that this fight-flight response is still in operation because we don't need this perpetual fight-flight response. So adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys, and it's not designed for long-term stress that we are under, especially in our society today, and especially in the Northeast. So we have increased stress hormones of cortisol and adrenaline. Our sweating increases, and we have increased mental and emotional turbulence, which also affects the physiology. When we are disturbed mentally or emotionally, it affects the physiology to every cell in our body. So over time, these things, when left untreated, can lead to heart disease, stroke and heart attack, obesity, digestive disturbance, diabetes, cancers, hormonal imbalances, and blood pressure. So what led me to be in alternative medicine really was the path of meditation. I was under high stress, of course, being in the pharmaceutical industry. I understand corporate America quite intimately. I was in it over 20 years. And I know the kind of pressure and stress that it gives us. What's that?
Brings about.
That it brings about, exactly. And so meditation for me, personally, on my path was something that I had to bring into my life in order to decompress. I was on airplanes all the time. I'd be on 4 to 6 airplanes a week sometimes, and I did that. I'd drink coffee in the morning and then eat dinner. And I really damaged my system. I got very sick. I stayed very thin because I was running around airports all the time with carry-on pre-9/11, and not taking care of myself, running from one thing to another, and really responding to what I felt were things that I had no choice about. And it's not really true. We have choice about how we do respond, how we set boundaries, how we function in our lives. So meditation benefits us physically by literally being the antidote to the stress response. So that when we're meditating, our heart rate is decreased, our blood pressure is decreased, our breathing becomes more normal, deeper, and less erratic. Our platelets remain normal, our blood flow remains in our internal organs. It provides an increase in our happy hormones, the oxytocin, the dopamine, the endorphins, and serotonin, and increased sweating. So literally, with the meditation practice, over time it has a cumulative effect whereby it starts to decrease the stress response. We cultivate what's called a restful awareness response, where instead of reacting to the stimulus that is around you, you can respond to it more from a place set back where we see the bigger picture. So mentally and emotionally, it creates that response. We're less reactionary, and we decreases mental and emotional turbulence. And we have less identification with our positions and our possessions. Most of it, which kind of leads me to spiritually. Most times when you ask somebody who they are, they'll tell you about what's going on in their head. I'm the CEO, or I'm the founder, or I'm the nurse, I'm the husband, or whatever. tune into ourselves spiritually to make conscious choices in our lives rather than unconscious choices. So meditation helps us lighten up, and I say enlighten up because it's really that enlightenment, having fun, seeing the bigger picture, accelerating spiritual progress, and changing the inner dialogue from what's in for me to how can I serve versus to be or out here it's changing that dialogue. So does that, it can be a discussion if anybody has any questions. I don't need to do all the talking. Do you have any
Well,
questions?
can you consider praying meditation as well?
I don't consider praying meditation. It's part of the same, part of the spiritual practice. But to me, for me, personally, praying to me is an active process. It's about talking to God. And meditation to me is listening for God. Sometimes we say that God doesn't hear our prayers or answer us or whatever, and it's sometimes it's because we're not quiet. We're not quiet enough to hear what the messages are. And the messages and the answers come to us in divine and unique timing and in ways that we many times don't expect. So, prayer is beautiful, as I think, as when we're connected, and it's not just ritualistic or meaningless.
Well, what do you do? Enroll in this, and you go to different areas. In other words, you can choose medication or choose
Meditation.
Or do you choose just yoga, or is it all three put together?
All three put together, but what I find is that people gravitate towards one thing or another, like towards what they're interested in. So like I gravitated towards meditation, and it was through my meditation practice that I realized the pharmaceutical industry was not going to be my long-term career, although I could stay in it for a long time.
Too long.
No, I wouldn't say too long there. I would say, the perfect timing, because it led me to where I am today. It gave me the credibility as a scientist. I did see amazing, wonderful things in the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, it's not all corrupt. I mean, the pharma industry has a bad rap, and that's well deserved in many regards. But, people who do research and are concerned about patient care and are concerned about finding cures. So it's never an all or nothing type of thing. And as we know, I'm sure you know people who've been helped by medications and surgery. It's just that it's used as a first line of defense when it really should be a last resort. People go to natural remedies and alternative medicine many times because traditional Western medicine hasn't worked for them. And really, by the time it becomes a tumor in a lab report or really abnormal lab value, it's too late for alternative medicine. Not too late, it's just that the disease process is already too powerful. Where, as I was going to talk about in Ayurveda, we talk about the seeds of illness. So like a little insomnia, stress, a little depression, anxiety, or whatever are things that we can nip in the bud right away. A little digestive disturbance, we can fix that right away before it becomes cancer, before it becomes Crohn's disease, before it becomes heart disease. When we respond, many times we write these things off as just, oh, I'm just having a little digestive disorder, a little heartburn, or oh, I don't sleep very well. But we begin to accept those things as normal, and we shouldn't, because bad nutrition is the mother of all disease. Insomnia is the father. We need to eat proper food, bring proper food into our physiology, and we need to rest.
So when someone says to you, who are you? What kind of answer can you give? You don't give actually what do you do now? Well, what is the person's answer?
That's a question to meditate on, because when you ask yourself that question and then go into the space between the thoughts, the space of infinite creativity and possibility, the answers reside in there. In other words, what do you get to take with you when you leave here? Because you don't get to take your job, you don't get to take your home or your money or your position. What you get to take, you take love, you take compassion, you take freedom, you take, and as I said, the answers come to you in divine and miraculous ways. So it's a deep, who are you? Not what do you do?
Is this done on a group basis or individual?
I do both.
Oh, you do both?
I do both. Yeah, I teach. One of the things I wanted to mention, I'm sure you've all heard of Deepak Chopra. He's one of the mind-body, one of the the biggest mind-body medicine physicians on the planet today, along with Andrew Weil and Brian Weiss. And he's written 65 books about mind-body medicine and spirituality. He was been my teacher for about 25 years, and I've always gravitated towards physicians who can talk about spirituality because I am a scientist and I'm not very airy or woo about metaphysics and spirituality. So when scientists can talk about it, that's when I can listen to it. And so Deepak has been a teacher through his lectures and things like that. And I went to the Chopra Center for a course one time, and his partner David Simon was also there and was a very profound teacher of mine. And so I learned about Ayurveda at the Chopra Center, and I was completely in love with it. I felt like I was home. And so that's how I started living my life that way. I have an Ayurvedic kitchen and an Ayurvedic lifestyle, and then I became I've been a meditation teacher a long time, and then I became a yoga teacher all through the Chopra Center. And then I continued my Ayurvedic education at New Jersey Institute. I went to India for 5 weeks to study, and it's a lifetime.
Does kinesiology enter into this?
Yes. Yeah. And we were just talking about kinesiology. Kinesiology is based on the fact that the body has all the wisdom. The body knows everything. So you can ask the body a question and it will give you the answer.
Would you give an example of that,
She's
please?
been trying to ask a question.
That's right. I have tried to teach myself to meditate at least 5,000 times. Forget it.
Yeah.
I'm so high strung, and then I started thinking about, oh my God, did I make the car payment? What is the secret? I really am not hot to go to a class. So what is the secret to learning self-meditation?
Well, what I would say is that it's, the mind chatter that's in our internal dialogue. We have 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day going on in our heads. Most of them not productive. And so that's the mind chatter you're talking about. I'm going to breathe now, and then, I have to make that car payment. Or I have to get dog food on the way home, or whatever. And those thoughts just come in, bing, 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 bing. So in starting meditation practice, what's most important is the discipline. There is no doing it wrong. If you're sitting down to meditate, you're doing it right. There's as many ways to do it as there are people on the planet. I teach a particular technique. I can teach many techniques, but I like mantra-based techniques. And a mantra is an instrument of the mind. That's the meaning of it, Sanskrit word. And so by chanting a mantra, whether it's a Sanskrit word, a Hebrew word, an English word, a Christian phrase or word, it doesn't really matter, but that focuses you. And so by chanting, even if you said, "Thy will be done," "Thy will be done." I use that one sometime when I need to detach from a situation.
Right.
Let thy, not my, will be done. So I'll just chant that, and then as the thoughts come in, you just gently bring your attention back to the mantra or back to the breath, whatever it is that you happen to be using. And over time, with practice and the discipline of it, you do get better at it. And then you start to really feel that peace. And then you slip into the gap, which is the space between the thoughts. That's the timeless. That's the timeless space that you've experienced. If you've ever done gotten involved in something you're really enjoying, or you're with somebody, you're in a great conversation, and you lose track of time. That's that timeless space that you can slip into the meditation. That's the peace that surpasses all understanding.
Is there a favored time of the day or location to meditate?
Yeah, favorite time, any time you can do it is great, but the best times are first thing in the morning. I do the RPM method, rise, pee, meditate, because if I put it off, or if I get into even brushing my teeth, I'm into my day.
Right.
I'm thinking about who I have to call, what I have to do, what's going to pop into my life. But if I get up, go to the bathroom, go to my meditation area, I'm groggy enough that I can slip into that space, but awake enough that I'm not going to I'm not going to fall off to sleep. And then as far as a place, I like having a special place to meditate, whether it's a special chair or like I have ritual around it. So I light a candle, I light incense, I have flowers there, I have a deity that's meaningful to me. I embrace Eastern philosophy, so I have Buddhas and Ganeshas and I have them all actually. I have everybody because I'm interfaith. So
How long do you usually meditate?
20 to 30 minutes is ideal. And so first thing in the morning is really the best time. Before 6 o'clock is really ideal, between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. And then at the end of the day is a transition from your day into the evening, because our evening hours really should be And just the ritual, like when I light incense and I light a candle, that actually signals my physiology that, oh, it's time to meditate. And so I like to teach my students to do that because I think it's just a way to put ritual into your life, and ritual is very grounding. It's very good for the physiology to have ritual.
Right, thank you.
And then I think, from that place, I think prayer becomes even more meaningful. Because when you're quiet, when the inner turbulence is quiet, the heart's quiet, emotions are quiet, the body's quiet, then you can really connect.
Do you do any work with athletes? You're trying to help them get into the box?
We have a hypnotherapist at the office, and we do sports hypnosis, actually. And I do pathway progression therapy, so I stick with that, but I can do hypnotherapy as well. But we do work with people for sports. I'm a tennis player, and I use it all the time. Yeah.
It is interesting. You had, I see a professional, for example, tennis player, that they need what most people would consider an extraordinarily stressful situation, a tight match with a full packed house, an important tournament, and they couldn't handle that.
Right.
And then maybe they were microphones in front of them, and all of a sudden they get nervous. And so people have different levels of stress depending on the circumstance.
They do, and different things stress people in different ways. Like public speaking, can make somebody absolutely faint if they're not used to it or if they don't like it, and yet not bother, it feels perfectly natural to somebody else. So yeah, we do have, that's why we need to be treated as individuals, because we're all different, we're all multidimensional, we have many aspects. Our spirit affects our body affects our spirit, our mind, emotions, it's all interconnected.
Do you do anything with weight control?
Yes. Yes, we do. We do, and it's very individually based. Very individually based. In Ayurveda, we have the nature-based philosophy of it is based on 5 elements of space, air, fire, water, and earth. And space, air, fire, water combine to form different things. So space and air is about our thoughts and our nervous system. Fire is about our digestion. We literally digest not only food, but we digest our experiences. So if something happens to you, somebody betrays you, you have to digest that because the energy of those things goes somewhere and can wreak havoc. It can cause cancer, it can cause diverticulitis, it can cause heart disease. I did a lot of heart research in heart disease, heart failure, heart attack, and the heart patients. The name of my first company was Heart to Heart Creative Healing, because I'm all about the heart. And it was amazing how these people, really had so much more going on in their lives that the doctor didn't even know about, that I would find out about because they were in a drug study and I spent a lot of time with them. When patients are in a drug study, I had a unique opportunity to spend like an hour or two with them. We put them on treadmills, we draw their blood, they do pressure monitors. There was opportunity to get to know them. And so it was really, the metaphysics of heart disease is about matters of the heart. So it was amazing how many people were in a bad marriage, a job that they despised, or had, for people they didn't forgive in their lives, were holding grudges. And yes, the drugs and the surgery can do so much, but it's the metaphysical part, the energetic part, the heart chakra that needs attention as well, because that's the seat of love, compassion, joy, forgiveness. And so when that's not functioning properly, that affects the physiology. You could be doing all the right things physically, and you know what it is to be heartbroken. I'm sure everybody has had a broken heart at one time or another. You know how that feels. You know how it can make you physically sick. And most heart attacks occur 90 on Monday morning. And that's because of that Sunday night phenomenon. Like, if you've ever been in a job that you didn't like, Sunday night is like, right? I have to go in there Monday.
Did you say that you do past lives regression?
I do, yeah, I do.
Must be so cool.
It's
So
fascinating.
what do you do? You have the person and you
I
hypnotize
put
them?
them into a meditative state with meditation or guided visualization, and then I start to take them back in time. And then they're having an experience, and it's not mind control, the left brain is engaged. So I'm just making suggestions that they go back in time to, like if we're working on a relationship issue or on a physical symptom, I will say to them, go back to when your symptoms first began. And sometimes, they go back 500 years, and not just to childhood, not just to the womb, but they can go back further. And whether you believe in reincarnation or not does not seem to matter. And if the mind makes it up as a metaphor, I don't know if they really had a past life. They say, am I imagining this? Did I make it up? Well, we don't know the answer to that. But if it makes healing happen, who cares? You know, it doesn't matter. A lot is mind over matter, so, you know, what's the difference? If your belief in a pill that it's gonna lower your blood pressure, you know, taking that and it's a placebo and the blood pressure gets lowered, it's really amazing.
That was a fascinating talk, and I could tell
Fantastic.
everybody was engaged.
Thanks for your time, and if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them, and please come see us at the center. We do free meditation. If you'd like to come and try it out, I do free meditation to the community Mondays, Wednesdays, someone else does it on Thursdays, and there's yoga and qigong and lots of fun things happening there. Oh, that was like Thank you. And there's fresh doors here if you're interested, and oh, no problem. Thank you.
There we go. That's one of them, you know, baby.
What's the name?
What's the name?